Today on the Tim Marner podcast show, I've got Jane Dixon from the Bereavement Café. Let's talk about grief, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about the Bereavement Café. How have you got into this? How did you first start off? I don't know why you sang that song.
Obviously just came straight there, didn't it?
I like it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the Bereavement
things
Café,
said
mate. And
around
how
it.
talk to me about that, mate. How you first set it up and
How we first set it up. So, 2018, my husband died. And I found that there was no support for me other than being sent for counselling, which is a great tool and support. However, I didn't want counselling. I didn't want assessing or having to, make all the conversation. I just wanted to talk to other people and just be like, oh, God, I feel like this. Is this normal? Is this weird? And so that is kind of how it all came about. It was just, at first I thought I'll set up something on Meetup, and then it just evolved, and before you knew it, I had a little CIC, which has just grown and grown and grown.
why can't people talk about death? Why can't people talk about grief?
I just think that's the kind of society that we've grown up in. There's a lot of language that's used around grief, which stops us in our tracks and stops us from speaking. The thing, and don't get me wrong, I said all this as well before I was trained. Things like, oh, time's a healer, and don't worry, things will get better. You just got to keep yourself busy, get yourself back to work, get yourself back into your routine.
What do you think about that language?
Well, like I said, these are the kind of sorts, a year, 18 months before Steve died, his dad died, and this was all the things I was saying to him to try and make him feel better, because we're not taught what to say and what not to say or what people are really feeling. We've just learned from listening to our peers or watching what they say on Coronation Street. So we just kind of say, when you're in that panic moment of someone's upset and crying at you, and you just start thinking, oh, what do I say? Oh, come on, you've got to be strong. You've got to be strong for your kids. And come on, they're watching you now. Let's show them, that we've got this and everything's okay and they have nothing to worry about, which is what I did. I went into that be strong mode and was like, got my arms around them and was like, don't worry, girls, I've got this. We're going to do this. And, really what I should have gone was, this is awful. It's awful. What are we going to do? I've no idea yet. But we'll work it through day at a time, because they're mirroring us, aren't they? So I was showing my kids at the time that they had to dismiss them feelings and be strong and keep going to school. Come on, let's go to school. Come on, it'll do you good to be in school. It'll do you good to be around your friends and, all those things. So...
What do you do, Jane, when somebody's lost someone? What should somebody do?
It depends on the person. It would depend on your relationship with them. And I think what I always say to people, because the first thing people say is, I wouldn't know what to say to somebody, and I'm scared I might say the wrong thing. So I'll just say that. If you can't find any words and you're in that moment, rather than be like, oh, but you're doing so well, you're looking good, the kids are fine, aren't they? And you're managing to get to work, just go like, oh my God, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say, but I'm here. And you let me know, you'll give me a shout and maybe offer some practical help, rather than, you get a lot of people who would say, let me know, I'm here for you, let me know what I can do. Rather than saying that, what can you do? Like, what could you offer me as support if I was to turn to you and go, oh God, I'm struggling, rather than going, just ring me if you need me, you could say, I don't know, do you want me to come and mow your lawn at weekend when I've got my lawnmower out? Or what are the kids at football on Sunday? Because I'll take them and pick them up, you stay in, Have you eaten this week? Have you been shopping? Do you need me to go shopping with you? Do you need anyone to go to the appointments? Let people know what you can do for them, rather than saying to the person, call me, because we won't call you.
Yeah. Never thought of it like that, mate.
No.
It's that first instant, like you said, it's like, the kid's going to be all right. You can do him really well. Time's a great healer. And you're like, it should be like that, should it?
No, because, all right, you know, like they said, there's them two sides of your brain, aren't there? You've got your intelligent side and the emotional side, and the intelligent side is saying it will feel easier in time, but emotionally, you're still grieving, you know, you'll still, like I said, it's 7 years for me, and I'm okay. Do I still grieve my husband? Am I still sad that he's dead? Yeah. So, and I think as well, what I've found with a lot of people we spoke to is the time just becomes more of a, trying to think of the right word that you'd use. It's just more like, it's been that long now since I saw him. It's been 7 years. That's a long time.
When somebody says, I miss them, is that the right language to use? Can you actually not miss anybody anymore, or are you sort of like detached from it where you know that they've had that part in their life and then you can kind of go, I don't miss them anymore, without, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think about losing my dog at Christmas. I went through this grieving process of like, oh my God, you know, screaming and crying and like doing it. And I can genuinely say now that I don't miss him. I know that he's been in my life and he's had that part, and I've had an amazing time, and now he's off on his next journey. And that detachment that I've got from him now is so healthy within me that I can talk about it without any actually getting triggered.
Yeah.
Do you think people can do that, or do you think that that's healthy?
I think it can be done, and you're very, very spiritual.
Yeah.
So I know that you'll be thinking, and I'm kind of coming on a little bit of a spiritual journey myself at the minute. So there is that side of it, isn't there, where it's like, you know, I hate the things happen for a reason and things like that, because with people and children, I just don't get that. However, he was a great part of your life, your dog, weren't he? And like you said, it brought things out of you that you wouldn't have had, and you wouldn't, there's experiences you would have had that you wouldn't have had if you had your dog. I think people can make peace to allow them to move forward. Can they not miss them? I don't know. I mean, again, grief is individual. You know, how I feel about my husband dying isn't the same as the next widow's. You know, it's as individual to each person, because we all have different relationships. We're all different people.
I just wondered where does that place that people want to go to, because I feel that, look, I'm not sure it'll happen every single time, but that just seems so healthy to me. Is getting to that point there where you're at peace with it and letting it go, that you don't miss them anymore. Yeah. But it's kind of counterintuitive, really. But I wondered what that grieving process is for other people, and how do they move through it, and what point do they want to get to?
Again, it's just all individual. There is no... This is how you grieve. There are no, you know, there's stages of grief, aren't there?
I don't know, go on, tell.
Yeah, there's, I think it's Dr. Kubler-Ross created the 5 stages of grief, which are, I can never get them off the top of my head. Denial, sadness, anger. I don't know. I can't think of any more. But and they say there's these 5 stages that you will go through. One, is could it? Be, yeah. But she actually dismissed all them because they were misinterpreted, and she's openly said, no, I wrote those about someone who is dying. They are the stages they will go through. Right. And over time it's been misinterpreted and used in a lot of grief work, a lot of workshops, a lot of books and literacy, and it's still quoted to this day, even though she's dismissed them. There are no stages of grief, and there's no... And it's things like, you know, that quote where people say, grief is just love with nowhere to go. And it's insinuating that you would have loved someone. Well, you can actually grieve someone who you didn't love. Yeah. And still go through grief. You know.
Talk to me about that, mate.
Well, you could have had a really bad relationship with a parent or a child or... you know, another family member or something, but it doesn't mean that when they die, you won't grieve them. You know, you don't have to have loved someone. You can grieve the loss of what you didn't have. Do you know what I mean? You can go through all those kind of feelings, what they should have been like for you. You know, if a parent's let you down or hurt you, harmed you, you can still grieve for that relationship that never happened or never...
That's a confusing one to go through, that, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So it's not, and I think, again, that's the kind of language that silences someone. So if, you know, you'd had an abusive relationship and you were grieving, you would be confused because you'd be thinking, I didn't even like him, I couldn't stand him, you know, he was this, he was that, but why do I feel like this? And so you question yourself, and you would probably have people around you who would be saying, God, well, you must be relieved, or it must be, you know, not as bad because we didn't have a relationship. And then that would then be cementing the, what's wrong with me? Because why do I feel like this? But it's actually normal to grieve someone you didn't know, or someone you didn't even know. Like we had all the Liam Payne thing last year, and teenagers like absolutely bereft, and they were being mocked online, weren't they? Won't you laughing? He was just a man. He's just a pop star. You know, there was some young kids who were like, you know their lives, don't you now?
Yeah.
You know, they're so open and honest, and you can follow them everywhere. It's a loss.
I just can't get my head round, like, I thought in order to grieve you needed to love.
No.
But you're not saying that.
No. Grief is the feelings that you'll get following a loss.
Right.
And you can have up to, I think there's about 50, 60 life losses that will bring on the feelings of grief. So, loss of a relationship, loss of a pet, loss of a friendship,
So you can get grief from a loss of a relationship.
A job. Pardon?
Grief comes from a loss of a relationship.
Yeah, a loss of a familiar pattern can bring on the feelings of grief. So, you know, like even like when you're losing a valued possession, you could, you know, if you lost something of big value to you, you can grieve those as well. Like marriages, and you know, even though you know you're not meant to be together, you can't stand each other, you still have those feelings of loss because it's change, it's different, it's a process.
You're spangling my head, Jane.
I'm so sorry.
Fuck. I just thought it was dead simple, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just thought in order to grieve you need to love.
And that is why we do think it's simple. You know, that's life, isn't it? We live, we die, we live, we die. But it isn't, and that's the thing, it isn't that simple. And this is what I'm trying to say is, you know, we have people who come to a cafe who can be 7, 10 years down the line and maybe only just realising that they're grieving.
Wow.
Or, you know, it's not something that you're immediately over. You know, we're not, you know, fixed after, like, there's a lot of literature around, like, once you go over the first 12 months, you'll feel a lot better because you've done your first. When in actual fact, we've found, and it's quite well documented, that actually the seconds are probably harder, and maybe even the thirds, because during all your firsts, you're surrounded by a lot of people, a lot of well-wishers, you get your messages, you've got your Facebook condolences.
That's kind of support.
Yeah, and you're kind of protecting yourself as well, because you're still in that, you know, your body's still in survival mode. So the second wave, you're kind of thinking, oh, we've done our first, we've done it before, we can do it again. And then there's not as many people checking, you're not really as prepared for it, and then it really can smack you.
Talk to me about the Bereavement Café then. Where is did you set up the Bereavement Café from the off, did you? Or did you set up Jane Dixon? What, you know, how did it happen?
All varied. There was never really any plan, and this is one thing I really, really try and get into, because I'm kind of going down like that. I'm a businesswoman now kind of thing. However, it didn't set out to be like that. It set out to just be a safe space for people to come and talk. So the first thing I did was, before the Bereavement Café even came in, I hosted a ball in 2018 because the school my kids were at were really struggling to support them, again due to lack of resources and things like that. So that was one thing where I was struggling, because I'm obviously trying to get my kids back into school, because if you don't go to school, you're going to get fined, you're going to get this, and I was told this. So I was obviously pressured at home to get them in school. Then school weren't giving them the support they needed. And at the time I was friends with a lady, Winston's Wish, the children's charity, were based up here. And I was friends with the lady who was the manager of the service. So I went to her and said, look, if I raise some money, can you help me do something in high schools? Because I can see there's loads of books and things around young people. I can't find anything for high schools. And I was trying to, I think at the time I wanted to kind of create some kind of journal that they could relate to. Because my kids were 13 when the dad died. And you know what they're like at that age. They're uncomfortable anyway. And they're awkward. They don't want to be seen to be different to, you know, their friends. So they even more so go into themselves and don't talk. So I thought, right, she said, yeah, get me some money and I'll do you some resources and I'll help you get this up and running. So created a ball, sold out 300 tickets within about 3 weeks, because Steve had such a good, you know, friends, family, workplace. And that was all going really well until a few months later, Winston's Wish took their funding away from up north, and Lisa at the time said to me, look, you can, I was thinking, I don't know if I should have said her name, but anyway, at the time she said, like, you can, I'm not going to be doing this, they've said you can still fundraise for them, it's just going to go in their big pot though. So I thought, well, that's not even going to touch my kids. That won't even get filtered up to their school. So no. And I went to CEO, Bolton Lads and Girls Club. Yeah, she was when she's chief exec. Yeah. And said to her, I've got this ball. It's sold out. It's happening. I've got no beneficiary. You're, you know, head of like our biggest youth thing in town. Do you do anything with bereavement? And she said, no, not even thought about it.
No.
And then I said, well, do you want to work together? Because I'm going to do something. Do you want to work together? And we'll do you guys as a beneficiary. So she said, yeah. And then that's kind of what happened. We donated £17,000. We raised on the night. And Bolton Lads and Girls now have a bereavement service for young people. And that. So that was the first
Do me a favour, take your watch off.
Is it bugging you?
I think will it pick up that, Shan?
I've not heard it yet.
All right, just in case.
Do you want me to take this one off as well?
Yeah, go on. I love your hands when you're doing it, and I just don't want to keep...
Okay.
Right, okay.
I'll try and keep them down.
So you did that, you did the ball, and then what happened?
Lockdown.
Right.
Yeah, lockdown came in not long after. So they kind of did their thing and, created the service. And then I went, and again, like I said, started working more on trying to create a CIC and work around the Bereavement Café.
Why call it Bereavement Café? Why that?
Well, I know, a lot of people have said that, and I do still stick by. I bet you've got a different name for me already in your head, haven't you?
Go on.
So the reason why I thought that was because obviously we don't have a cafe, but I wanted it to be in cafes, and nice coffee shops. I wanted it to feel comforting, so you just come in and having a brew, and I still kind of do stand by that really, because I do think. Like I say it really blasé, like I just say we just sit around a table. You'll have to come down. It's really
we'll do,
really,
mate.
100%.
100%. Where are they? Where are they based?
At the moment, we've got one in the White's Hotel.
Yeah.
And one in Brookfield Hall, in West Arton.
Yeah.
That's due to funding. We used to have quite a lot, but funding's gone down quite a lot. But hopefully that'll bounce back soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always say we're just sitting around, we have a cup of tea, we put the world to rights and we talk about what's going on. But those who come are like, no, this is the only place I can talk. This, my family don't understand me. No one understands what I'm going through, people around me. We had a lady the other week who came who said, like her husband's not that long since died, and her family were telling her to pack his clothes away and things like that. And it was like, oh my God, I didn't even do that for 3 years, and that was only because I needed some space. So yeah, it's that space for people to come and talk openly and say things out loud that you think, if I said this out loud at work, someone will think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But we say it, and you'll see everyone nodding around the table. So, for example, one side was like clearing his wardrobe. I said, I stood next to his jackets. He's got lots of blazers. And I stood just pottering, and I kind of like held his hand, you know, as if we were holding hands, and looked down. So I said that in the I know. And that was like a bit of a moment. And then I said that out loud, and this other lady was like, oh my God, yeah. She went, I put his dressing gown on the bed next to me, and I can like, you know, as if he's I know. So it's like you do things like that, like you catch yourself holding your not husband's hand with his jacket and think, Jesus Christ, Jane, you're going bonkers. But then you say it out loud, and everyone else around you's like, yep.
That place to not feel alone. Powerful, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And like I said, that wasn't like immediately. Like not like in the times when I was sniffing his claws and things like that. This was years later. When you forget that contact and what that looked like, looking down and, you know, holding his hand.
What's the itinerary, mate? When you come to the cafe, what is that? What does that look like from an experience from a person walking through? Do you put like a bit of an itinerary on them?
No, but moving forward and with our new resources, that is what we're going to be doing. Because
just show people your new resources. You've got these. Let's talk about grief cards. Yeah, just show that. Yeah. Because these cards, you open them up. Nice question, and you're going to be like doing that. Yeah.
So what we've done so far is just worked it around. So I'd be the facilitator. I would talk about maybe anything that I've gone through that week. Then we put it out to the group. Has anyone got any significant dates coming off? Anything happening? And you know, and it will start that way. So we're going to still do that. But then we're going to turn some cards over. I've done that more because we're now getting to a point where it won't just be me facilitating, because I'm going to be in schools and businesses. So I need other people facilitating for me. And also we're getting so many inquiries for people to run their own bereavement cafes, you know, outside of town, that we needed to create some resources for them to be able to follow what we do, to do it properly.
How'd you get to become a grief counsellor? How do you get to that?
I'm not a counsellor.
Well, I mean...
So, what I did was I trained with Grief UK, who they're not about anymore, but they are based on, what are they called? Grief Recovery, I can't remember the bloody name. Anyway, so doing their training meant I was a certified grief and loss specialist and a helping children with loss specialist, which then gave me the skills, the tools, the language to work with other people to help them through their grief. So on top of that, I've then just done training with Winston's Wish, Child Bereavement UK, Cruise. Everyone's training course, I've sat and done it on, you know, listened to podcasts, read every single bloody book there is. I just got to this stage and realised more than anything is that I've got a voice and I really, really need to use it.
When did you get that calling? When did you know that you had a voice and you need to use it? How far into the journey was it that you realised that?
Recently.
Right,
This year.
What message did you get?
Just... I didn't really get a message as such. It was just more... I've spent the last few years since we started this with imposter syndrome, massively. So I was... Steve and I had a really, really old-fashioned relationship in that he used to call me his 1950s housewife because he got up and went to work every day and I stayed at home and, you know, like the Clive's wife and kept the house, which is still a really, really big role. and got my housekeeping every Friday, you know, that kind of thing. So I have always kind of had a little bit of, who do I think I am? Like, I'm not one of these, I'm not Maura Jackson or, you know, Karen, you know, some of these big CEOs, Jill Smallwood, and all these are now my friend now, so I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I was meeting people who were like really up there to me and thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm not like these, what am I doing? But then the more I heard from people the value that they were getting from just attending our sessions or having a one-to-one with me, or even just sometimes just reading the posts. And I think it was only really this year where I thought, oh, actually,
was there one moment where you kind of...
Do you know, it was possibly, I'm just thinking now, because I've not thought about this until you've asked me then, it could have been November, December time. I was given a civic medal by the Mayor of Bolton, which it's a really, really big accomplishment. And I think it was then realising, because he said to me at the time, you know, I think there was 90 odd applications or nominations, and there was only 3 of us who won them. And he said, like, you were that unanimous, easiest yes. And I think the panel were like, I think it was Sue, you know, who's the head of the council, again, the mayor, the head of like the leadership teams, who they were at the time, I can't remember. So I think and then again, like I said, spending time with people, those peers in the Bolton charity sector who were saying, no, what you do is of value, it's important and it's needed. I think that all kind of came together, and then over this New Year period, I thought, you know what, this is my year. I need to really smash my boxes this year. Yeah.
Are you proud of yourself for what you've accomplished? Have you like took stock of what you've done?
This year again, probably. I think this is going to be, there's something about this year that's, you know, I've had some big lessons that have been hard to learn. And I just, I think this year I've sat back and actually realised how far we've come. I've come. I always say we, and I really should say I more. I mean, I have a great team of volunteers around me, which I wouldn't be able to do it without them. Definitely not. But I do. I think we've done really, really good.
Yeah, we've done
and
really,
we're going to
really
be
good.
Doing a lot better. Now we've got more of these actual resources that we can get in people's hands.
I know I kind of asked you this sort of before in a weird way, but who is Jane Dixon without the grief counselling? I was going to say the word bloody counselling.
Grief consultant.
Yeah, grief consultant. Who is she without that?
I don't know, because you was asking me that earlier, weren't you? And I couldn't even think.
Yeah, because you've been so part of your life for so long, mate. I just wondered what does Jane do for joy without the...
Jane drinks. No, she doesn't. So, yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because when you said that before, like, let's talk about something that we're not going to talk about, and he was like,
yeah,
what do I talk about then? Because I
live and breathe this is amazing, and your passion in it is like... And should you want to talk about something else? Not really. I think the mission and the vision that you're on it's epic, and anything I can do to help you, you know, I'm going to be here. And I'm, you know, we'll talk about a few naming conventions, but I just wondered who Jane was, the identity, the personal brand, without the Bereavement Café and the grief specialist and doing all the things that you do.
So,
can you do that?
Who is Jane?
Yeah.
And I
big
shouldn't
question,
link
mate.
It is. It's a massive question, and also coming back to the bloody business side of it as well is I've actually got a workshop that I'm going to bring out that is in my head and on paper. It's called Who is Jane? And this, I know, and this is, so after that, obviously you've been through a massive trauma. I'm not the person I was in 2018. And I even say out loud sometimes, like, I don't even think Steve would like me now. I don't think he would. I'm not who I was. I know.
Wow.
I know. But I don't know, he might do. Yeah, he will. He's still that man. I'm still me. So the Who is Jane workshop is that it's looking like it's going to be around 4 or 5 weeks, just short sessions, a couple of hours. It's for people who've been through similar. And what were you? Who were you? What have you lost over time?
Yeah.
And what's still there, and what's come to you, what's grown with you. So it's because we're in this like no man's land. When you go past like all your firsts and stuff like that, you then hit like no man's land where you're you don't know who you are anymore. You know, I was a wife, I was a housewife, we had 2 cars on the drive, we had loved a little life. It's, well, who am I now? I've got to start living without my husband, you know, and it's readapting, you're learning to live again. So the Who is Jane is building on from that, picking, you know, going through the no man's land, and then, but what's good, what's left, what's come of this, you know. And you don't want to think something good has come from your husband dying, because obviously I'd have him here before anything. But has there been some good for me? Yeah, in a way that I'm helping others. With, again, going back to being with my voice, I don't know if I'm going a bit off question here a bit.
No, it's perfect. The question's perfect. The answer's perfect.
And in my head, and I don't know the name of it, I had an artist. Do you know Suzanne Halliwell? Quiet Thunder. Do you?
Yeah, I love Suzanne.
She knew it. When I mentioned it to her, she was like, "Yeah, that's a really good idea." You know the Japanese. There's a piece of art where they've broken a vase.
All right, no.
What's it called? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
So you break a vase, but then they put it back together with gold glue, and it's called something. It begins with T. And what it says is, even though this beautiful piece has been broken, it can still be put together and look beautiful. And that is kind of what the This Is Jane workshop is going to be. And I want it to end on the last day with
good. Breaking the vase.
Breaking some, just go to the charity shop and find a beautiful bowl or a vase or something, and we're just going to break it and we're going to put it together with glue, and that will be the Who is Jane. She's this beautiful vase who's got gold all over her, and you know she's broken. There's bits chipped away.
What a good answer to my question.
Do you think?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't think that could be answered any better.
Oh,
what an amazing workshop, mate.
I know, and I do think, like I said, I'm just going to be careful with it, because, and the one thing with me is, like, see all these workshops and training courses and things like that, and they're hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and even though I'm sure they've all got their own different values, and I get that, but I don't want to outprice some people who would really, really benefit that. So I've got to do a little bit of work around the maths with it, because obviously you've got to charge.
Yeah.
That's something I've struggled with, charging and talking about money. But also, I don't want to outprice someone.
How much is it to come to the Bereavement Café?
It's free.
Right.
Yeah. They're free. 3 to attend. We're quite lucky. We've got some patrons who, it's only from £10 a month to be one of our patrons as well. So they kind of cover the cost of the coffees and refreshments, and we do get little bits of funding from like Bolton CVS and you know local support services, but we don't have a massive pot, and that is why we've ended up having to go down the business side to try and bring some extra funding in, really, so that it can continue and it can grow and we can carry on getting the word out there, because our inbox is just packed with can you help, there's so much you can do.
Yeah, but won't the workshops do this? Won't the workshop fund that if you put the workshops on, but then you tell people the reason you're paying for, because it's not just about grief, it's about identity and not knowing who you are, what you're talking about, and that's for the masses. But if you underline it with this supports our bereavement cafes, then you're going to get more people signing up for.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
You don't think so, you know so.
Yeah.
You've got to use the right language, Jane, within it. Money is in abundance. Money grows on trees.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Money comes to me easily.
Exactly. And that's what you've got to use. These workshops are going to be so powerful, mate.
Yeah. yeah. And again, all these resources will all come back into
So talk to me about the book then.
So the book...
Just show it up to the camera, show people.
Yeah, I'm Julie that you made me take me off.
Yeah. It's fucking so noisy.
Where are you? I know, I'm sorry. Bling, bling, bling. So, this book is, as you can see, it's quite thin. But
yeah.
just like me.
Okay, Jane, yeah. That means it's not...
But
what does that mean, that it's thin? It's not going to take you long to go through it.
Because I put so much into it and so much content.
Yeah.
And when you're reading it as a Word document, you're like, God, there's loads in here.
The complete grief support guide.
Yeah, complete grief support guide. So this is basically, I've read all the books, I've done all the training, I've listened to the podcasts. You're struggling with grief, that's what you need. That is what the NHS need, the funeral parlours need. This should be going into the hands of everyone who, you know, are lost. They don't know what they're doing. It's got, you know, it starts off with think about lists, like things you've got to do. And it's trying from them very, very early stages of getting in the right language and helping you to be practical, because believe me, when someone dies close to you, your head's gone.
Gonski.
Left the room.
Yeah.
Left the room. It's as smoky as it is in here. It's gone. So when people are saying, let me know what I can do, where do you need to go next, you're just like, I don't know, like, poof, it's gone. Grief just takes over your head. There's a lot of like the science part around why your brain's acting like that, but it's not complicated. And it says people will ask you what they can do. Start writing a list of what you need people to do. Yeah.
Cook me food.
Yeah.
Wash me car.
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton bag. Just reg stuff, really.
Yeah.
So say
Got me
for
thinking then.
instance, you've got it sort of down in your brain, your head. You can almost rationalise logically, kind of, you know, it's making sense a little bit, and I'm moving on, and you know, time's healed my head a little bit, but my body's telling me something totally different. Not that it tells me anything, but your heart holds on to that grief.
Body keeps a score.
Body keeps the score. Yeah, perfect way of saying it. Just talk to me about that a little bit, mate, and how, you know, people need to really understand that you can rationalise it and logically.
Yeah.
You've had your time, we've had an amazing life together, but my body's like, holding it, you know. You're getting bloated, you're like all these things.
Oh, there's so many illnesses that come after a loss. So yeah, I mean, one of the big things that I rationalised quite early on with Steve was, I was lucky. I was lucky to have met this man, the life we had, the love he had for me and our family, and vice versa. Some people never experience that. They can live to 100 and they've not even had a year of what we had. So that brought me a lot of comfort, be able to think like that. But with regards to how grief showed up, serious anxiety. I got psoriasis, which I'd never had before, which is a low immune system, immune response. And it's flared again recently, actually. People can have, you know, inflamed joints, broken heart syndrome, you know, problems with hearts. I can't think off the top of my head, and do you know what I'm trying to picture? I don't know if you've ever seen my post where I do this with the young people. We draw a big gingerbread man to try and say to them, it's not just an ear. Where else might you be feeling it? And then we kind of like vandalise this gingerbread man to say what they're going through. Like they'll say, like, you know, leg shakes or self-harming, that gut, you've been punched in your stomach, the throat can be, you know, a little tight and things like that. So yeah, rationally you can think, right, we're back in work with that, but your body knows someone's missing. You know, it's like when you dream, and you dream about, like, the dreams I have with Steve are awful.
What do you mean?
I just dream that he's left me.
Right.
You know, so he's there, and he's either got a girlfriend, or he's just left, or he's there as my husband, but I know he's come back after he's left me.
Jesus.
So it's like, I know it's
What do you do with that?
You just think, oh shit, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's awful. And that is, again, because I've learned all about the science bit now, that's your neural pathways, isn't it? Like, they're used to him being there, and now they're trying to, like, oh, he's gone. Well, you know, so your brain's remembering.
Can't even imagine that.
Yeah. It's crap, isn't it? But it's fine. It's good. He sends me nice signs. I do believe he sends me signs. I do get a lot of signs off him. I've had 2 this morning. I always see, because he worked in car sales. He worked at Williams BMW. And this morning, I've seen 2 Stees. One was on a BMW. So, and when I see them, or I see a lot of SD, or SJD, Stephen J. Dixon. And to me, that's like, especially if I'm going through something, or if I'll ask a question, or say, you send me a sign, I'll just get like a Steve. Or if it's something to do with kids, I get a dad.
How have you navigated it with the kids? How have the kids navigated this space?
Yeah, I mean, they're all, from what they tell me, they're okay. They're not overly keen on me talking about them or bringing them into stuff. But I mean, they're 20 now. They were 13 when he died. They're 20 now. And they're both in really good places. Well, they're the children we had together. We had 3 children outside our marriage. Oh, that sounded really taboo, that, didn't it?
Taboo. You're a bit taboo, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 3 kids between us when we met, and then we had Freya, and I don't say the name.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about.
We had
Go.
twins.
Right, okay.
But yeah, everyone's in a good place.
Yeah,
and they probably, and I think as a family we do this anyway, and it was very Steve anyway, because he was a funny person. We do joke a lot, and if we talk about him, it's more in a laughing way. Yeah. Like when I created these, and I was like, what do you think of these girls? And they were like, oh, okay, question for 10 points. What do you miss the most about them? Okay, if you could talk to them now, what would you tell them? Yeah. And they were like doing that, just laughing between themselves, but it still got us talking about him, and they said the odd thing.
That's what I love about them cards, mate. There were questions on there that just, what do you miss most about them? When's the last time have you ever said that about somebody that's gone?
Yeah, exactly. You don't, and it is to have them conversations. So I did a workshop recently, and one of the, and I'll just bring these now just for show because I'm trying to promote them, and I think one of the questions was something like, what did they do that made you laugh? And then this girl who was there was talking about this guy she worked with who died, I think she said last year or the year before, and she said like, oh my God, that's just reminded me, he used to make me a brew every morning, and did he have something to do with a hat? I can't remember what she said now. But she just shared this moment, and she had this big beaming smile on her face, and we were all smiling. It's things like, you just wouldn't say it. You wouldn't have that, would you?
So powerful.
Isn't it? Yeah. And it's just like, when you think about all these businesses who are into well-being and staff care and things like that, you should all have a box of these. And then when you're doing like your Wellbeing Wednesdays or something like that, or National Grief Awareness Week, or a colleague's lost someone, let's get some questions out. Let's all be open and honest and talk.
Wellbeing Wednesdays.
Wellbeing Wednesday.
I like that. So what have you got coming up? What's your next step then? What?
Next step is
apart from coming on a power hour with me, what's your next steps after that?
Next steps after that, to be honest, we've kind of had to detour a little bit, and I know we've already talked about some, but the conversation cards.
The youth edition. Read me some of those questions, mate.
So, they're all out and they're all for sale now on our website.
Yeah.
The youth edition So, as I was trying to say earlier, but you kept telling me to stop talking.
Right. Do you want me to help you open the box, Janie? Okay.
Please, yeah.
Give you bloody fancy nails.
They're outgrown, like a month outgrown. The government has recently updated it's not PHSE now, it's RHSE, Religion, Health, and Sex Education or something like that. Yeah. And they've updated that recently and added grief, finally, to the curriculum, which has never been in before, which is really bizarre, isn't it? Because everyone's going to die and we're all going to experience it. So these are going to be the tool that every single teacher needs and the guide that teaches them how to use them. So they're going to be doing assemblies, class talks and things like that about, you know, how to have, so some of these are questions about, so some of these have got like a general discussion for lessons. Why might someone act differently at school after someone has died? So these are things to get the whole class talking about grief and to consider. And imagine if you're a child and you know your friend's mum's died, or what do you say? Because we don't know as adults what to say to them, do we? So imagine being 13.
No clue.
And not knowing. So you're not going to say anything. You're just going to ignore them, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then the kids who've been through a loss are going to think, well, I'm not going to say anything because they don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to tell them I'm sad because they'll laugh at me. So here I am hiding. And there are a lot of bad pathways young people can go down if they don't get help and support. A lot.
Self-harm, addiction.
And anxiety, self-harm, addiction. You know, and they just start from that. It's that itch into it when there's something wrong with you. You just want to scratch your itch, or just cut yourself a little bit.
I mean, it
and
usually
then when
comes
that
into
working,
adding pleasure into your life, doesn't it? Yeah. You try to get like dopamine hits on what's it, or you'll turn to a little, anything to just give you a little bit of pleasure in your mind.
And they only last for so long, don't they?
Yeah.
And then you're looking for the next one and the next one, until some of them sadly hit the ultimate form of self-harm, suicide. Yeah. You know, and it does happen. A lot of them become youth offenders and end up going down that pathway, homelessness, because they might have lost the parent good parent maybe, or and then be passed, pillar to post, and then, before you know it, they're in back up
Northwest. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a big thing, and it isn't made big because it's an uncomfortable conversation.
It's complex, isn't it? I just didn't realise how complex it was, really.
Yeah, and this
I've made it kind of simple in my mind, but I've after talking to you about every single person's individual and not one box fits all.
No.
And it essentially comes down to talking
and letting them know that it's okay and you're a safe space to talk.
Yeah.
Don't try and fix when
just
someone's
listen.
trying.
They just want to be heard.
Yeah. You don't need fixing. We know what to do.
Yeah.
Don't need you to tell us, go and do this, go and do that. Right, okay, I will, because I won't, because I've got a list of 100 and other things that I've got to forget. Just listen, because no one else listens.
If anybody's listening to this, mate, how can they find you? Well, where do they go to come to the cafe? Where do they go? Website, Instagram, where do you want them to go?
I send them to our website mainly because that's the most up to date with our dates of upcoming cafes. www.thebereavementcafe.co.uk. And that is up to date with all the dates so far. It does need some more putting in now till Christmas, but that will be sorted by the end of this week. And then, any inquiries about workshops, teacher training.
And you also do one-to-ones with people as well, don't you?
One-to-ones, yeah. Anything like that, the emails on the website, and you'll get me anyway.
Thank you, Jane. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, and I'm really, really thankful that you've had, this open and honest conversation, because they're very much needed.
Very much needed. Let's let me help you get this out there.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best. Tim Marner.